I know, sounds backwards, even reckless, but stay with me, because right now you're exhausted, worn down by people's opinions, dragged under by expectations. You wake up thinking about who you need to impress, who might judge you, who might leave. You're living your life on a tightrope, balancing approval in one hand and anxiety in the other. Let me ask you something, how's that working out for you? You bend yourself to fit into rooms you don't even want to be in. You say yes when your soul is screaming no. You spend hours, days, years trying to prove your worth to people who wouldn't notice if you disappeared tomorrow. And then one day, it hits you. You're not free. You're caged. But here's the plot twist. You're holding the key. The moment you stop caring, truly stop caring, about what doesn't serve you, everything shifts. When you stop caring about being liked, you become respected. When you stop caring about perfection, you become powerful. When you stop caring about pleasing others, you start pleasing yourself. And that is not selfish, that is survival. You don't owe your peace to anyone who profits off your discomfort. You don't owe your energy to people who drain you. You don't owe your potential to systems that want you small. The real power, it shows up the moment you decide, I don't need their permission to live my truth. Do you know what that sounds like? That's the sound of chains hitting the floor. That's the sound of your mind waking up. That's the sound of your life beginning. When you stop caring what they think, you start to listen to yourself. And guess what? That voice inside you, it's wiser, louder, and stronger than you've been taught to believe. It doesn't whisper, it roars. But you've been silencing it, muting your instincts, editing yourself to be palatable. Why? So they feel comfortable. Enough. You don't need to water yourself down to make others feel full. You don't need to shrink to fit their box. You were born to stand out, and the moment you stop caring about fitting in, everything starts to work out. The friends who matter will stay. The peace you crave will arrive. The success you chase will follow your authenticity, not your performance. You were never meant to be a puppet pulled by strings of approval. You were meant to be a force. So if you want your life to change, your relationships to heal, your power to return, stop caring about the noise. Let them talk. Let them judge. Let them misunderstand you. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be undeniable. And when you stop caring about the things that don't matter, you finally create space for the things that do. This is how it starts, not with noise, but with silence. The silence of you reclaiming your power. You know what approval is? It's a cage, gold-plated, polished, and disguised as love, but still a cage. And here's the worst part, you built it yourself. Every time you bit your tongue to avoid judgment, every time you posted something just to get likes, every time you betrayed your own gut just to make someone else comfortable. You gave up tiny pieces of yourself, hoping to be accepted, hoping to be seen. But ask yourself this, have they really seen you? Or have they just seen the version of you you've performed for them? Let me tell you something, approval is addictive, it's seductive, but it's also the quickest way to forget who you are. Because when your worth depends on applause, you'll dance to whatever song they play, even if it breaks your spirit. And that applause, it's conditional. It disappears the moment you stop entertaining. So here's the hard truth. You cannot be powerful and people pleasing at the same time. You cannot lead your life and follow their script. You think you're being accepted, but you're really being edited, filtered, reduced. You're not living, you're performing. And if you're performing your life, who's really living it? You want freedom? Start by recognizing this: you don't need their permission to be whole. You were never meant to be everyone's version of enough. You were meant to be your own. And when you finally let go, when you truly stop caring about who's clapping, who's watching, who's judging, something shifts inside you, quietly but powerfully. It's like pulling the plug on a machine that's been running non-stop in the background. And in a world addicted to noise, there is nothing more commanding than someone who walks in confidence without needing to say a word. That's real power. That's the kind of confidence that lasts, not because the world gave it to you, but because you stopped needing it to. And when that happens, when you finally stop performing and start living from that place of quiet strength, everything starts to work out, not because you forced it, but because you finally let go of who you were told to be and stepped into who you really are. Rejection, it's the one thing so many of us fear, and yet, it's the very thing that sets us free. You've been taught to avoid it at all costs, to stay agreeable, likable, polished, to stay within the lines so you don't ruffle feathers, don't get pushed out, don't get left behind. But what if I told you that the rejections you've been trying to dodge were actually pointing you toward your power? See, rejection feels like a door slamming in your face. It feels personal. It feels like failure. Like proof that you're not good enough, not ready, not worthy. But that's only because you've been looking at it through the wrong lens. Rejection isn't punishment. It's redirection. It's the universe clearing a path you didn't have the courage to walk yourself. It's life saying, this isn't for you. And you already know it. Think back. How many times have you tried to hold on to something that wasn't working? A relationship you had to shrink for. A job that drained you. A circle that never clapped when you won. You stayed because it was familiar. Because it was safe. Because being chosen, even in the wrong place, felt better than being alone. But when they said no, when they walked away, when the door slammed, you didn't break. You adjusted, you stood up, you found another way. That's not failure, that's growth. Sometimes, the best thing that can happen to you is not getting what you thought you wanted. Because the truth is, you were made for more. But you can't reach more while you're clinging to less. When you stop fearing rejection, something powerful happens. You stop filtering yourself. You stop begging for entry. You stop bending to fit where you were never meant to belong. And instead, you start choosing. You start walking into rooms with your full voice. You speak your truth even if it makes people uncomfortable. You stop auditioning and you start aligning. And yes, some people will walk, some opportunities will pass, but the ones that stay, the ones that show up, those are the ones meant for the real you, not the version you edited to survive. Rejection clears out what isn't solid. It forces you to look in the mirror and ask, who am I without their approval? And if you're brave enough to answer that question honestly, you will discover a level of strength you didn't know existed. You don't grow when you're accepted everywhere. You grow when you realize you don't need to be. So stop seeing rejection as the end of something. Start seeing it as a beginning. It's not the door closing. It's the weight falling off your back. It's freedom. It's clarity. It's the moment you stop waiting to be picked and start walking like you were born chosen. Your energy is currency, and every single day, you're spending it. On people, on conversations, on distractions, on worries. But here's the part most people never tell you: not everyone deserves your energy. Not everything deserves your time. And if you don't protect it, they will drain it until there's nothing left of you. You ever wonder why you feel tired, even when you haven't done much? Why certain people leave you feeling heavy after 5 minutes? Why some rooms feel suffocating even when everyone's smiling? That's not a coincidence. That's an energy leak. And the truth is, when you're constantly giving your power away, when you're over-explaining, over-apologizing, over-committing, what you're really doing is undervaluing yourself. Because when something is valuable, you don't hand it out freely. You guard it. You protect it. You invest it wisely. Your energy works the same way. There are people who will feed off your light without ever bringing any of their own. People who thrive on chaos, on gossip, on drama, and they'll pull you into the fire just to watch you burn. And if you're not careful, you'll keep showing up for them, convincing yourself it's loyalty. It's not. It's self-betrayal. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Start paying attention to where your energy goes. Who gets it? What drains it? What restores it? Because every time you pour into something that doesn't pour back, you're going bankrupt internally. It's not about being rude. It's about being responsible. There is a cost to constantly giving yourself away. A cost to every yes that should have been a no. A cost to tolerating relationships, jobs, habits that pull from you but never invest in you. So stop handing your energy out like it's unlimited. Start treating it like the lifeline it is, because it is. Protect it like you would protect your home, your peace, your family. Because you are the source of everything you want to create. And if your energy is gone, your focus is gone. Your clarity is gone. Your strength is gone. And when all of that is gone, how are you supposed to build anything? You want to level up, start by doing an audit of your time, your space, your circle. Look around and ask, is this adding to me or subtracting from me? And if it's subtracting, it's not worth the investment. Your energy is your most valuable asset. Don't let it be stolen by things that aren't aligned with your growth. When you stop caring what other people think, something incredible happens. You finally start hearing yourself, that voice inside you, the one you've been ignoring, silencing, second-guessing. It gets louder, stronger, clearer. Because let's be honest, when your mind is full of other people's opinions, there's no room for your own truth. You can't even tell what's yours anymore. Is that your dream? Or someone else's expectation? Are you making that choice because it's right for you? Or because you're afraid of being judged? Every time you make a decision based on how it will be received, not how it feels in your gut, and you know why most people stay stuck. Not because they don't know the answer, but because they're too busy drowning in noise to hear it. The noise of judgment, the noise of comparison, the noise of, what will they say, or, what if I fail in front of them? You carry everyone's voices except the one that actually matters. But when you finally stop caring, really stop, you make space, you create silence. And in that silence, your intuition steps forward, your clarity sharpens, you start to move differently. Not reactively, not anxiously, intentionally, because now you're no longer playing to the crowd. You're listening to your own compass, and that compass, it's always been there, it's always known. You just didn't trust it. You outsourced your truth to the outside world, hoping for guidance, hoping for applause, hoping for approval. But the answers were never out there. They were buried under the weight of trying to be liked, accepted, approved, and understood. So here's the shift: stop performing and start listening. Listen to your body. Listen to your resistance. Listen to the tension that shows up when you're out of alignment. That's your internal warning system, and the more you ignore it, the louder it gets, until it turns into burnout, regret, resentment. But when you stop caring about being misunderstood, when you stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, you reclaim your bandwidth. You reclaim your voice. And with that voice comes direction, power, peace. That's what self-trust looks like. That's what alignment feels like. And it only shows up when the noise dies down and your truth takes the mic. You want to know when everything in your life starts to move. When momentum kicks in, when clarity shows up, when the right people, the right paths, the right opportunities begin to align. It's the moment you stop chasing and start choosing. And that shift only happens when you stop caring about all the things that don't matter. When you stop obsessing over being liked. When you stop explaining your every move. When you stop negotiating with doubt and trying to convince people to see your value. Because once you let go of that noise, and you create space, and in that space everything clicks. You stop wasting time on battles that aren't yours. You stop fixing people who don't want to grow. You stop watering dead plants, hoping they'll bloom. Instead, you start planting where the soil is rich. You start building instead of proving. You stop performing and start creating. And you know what happens when you start living in that place of authenticity, of clarity, of unapologetic self-respect. Doors open. Not because you begged. Not because you played small or followed someone else's path. But because you stood in your truth, and the world responded. People sense when you're not for sale. They sense when you have boundaries. They sense when your worth doesn't shift based on their opinions. That kind of energy is rare, and rare energy moves things. You don't have to chase when you're aligned. You don't have to prove when you're certain. You don't have to explain when you're living it. So yes, everything really does start to work out, not because life suddenly gets easier, but because you get clearer, sharper, stronger. You stop leaking energy into what doesn't matter, and start investing in what does. And the moment you do that, you become unstoppable. So here's what it all comes down to. You don't need to change who you are. You just need to stop caring about the things that have been holding you back. Stop caring about being liked. Stop caring about being understood. Stop caring about meeting expectations that were never yours to begin with. Because the truth is, your power, your peace, your progress, it's been waiting on the other side of everything you've been afraid to let go of. And when you finally do, when you stop chasing approval, Stop performing for acceptance, stop explaining your worth. You come home to yourself. That's where it all begins. Your strength, your clarity, your rise. Not when the world finally accepts you, but when you finally accept that you were never here to blend in. You were here to break through. And from that moment on, everything starts to work out. Not because you forced it, but because you finally freed it. And most importantly, you finally freed yourself.